सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। हरि ओम। This love and dependency, when it gets intertwined, that is called attachment. A child is loving towards parent and also it's dependent on parents. A wife loving can towards a husband need not be dependent on husband. But the problem is, as that dependency factor goes out, the love also starts receding. That's where the problem is. That's where the attachment loses its strength. The affection is gone. More and more I become independent, lesser and lesser I become affectionate. But that's called attachment. Love is exactly opposite of that. More and more I become independent, more and more I start loving you. The mark of love is this: I suspend the choice to sever a relationship. That is called love. When you love, you cannot clip off that relationship. The person may go away from you. That is possible. See, he may move away from you, he may move out of country, or they may move physically away from you. Or a death can part the persons, the parties. They can sever that. But the relationship never gets severed. Love means I lose the choice. That's called love. That is why we are scared of love. Because we want to keep this option open always. Anytime I want, I can clip off my relationship with you. I can chuck you out. If I cannot throw you out, I go out. That's the option. That's all. Like, who is going to pack the bags? Depends on who is the owner of the house, in whose name the house is. That's about it. That's why we say it's all attachment, and love is still an emptier sound. You say, what is that, sir? Because you keep that option open in a relationship. Now you are loving means you lose the choice. That choice is not there anymore for me, that I can afford to sever that relationship. Come what may, it doesn't make any difference. Under any circumstances, I can't afford to clip that relationship. The person may go away from me. That is for obvious reasons, for various reasons. The person may, in fact, 24/7, you can't be living in that. You're not together. He goes to office, right? She goes to office. Love doesn't mean you have to be holding on to each other. But what happens is, the moment the person becomes independent, when I say, independence can be at any level: financial, physical, emotional, intellectual, whatever the level is. More I become independent of the other person, greater I feel I have the choice to sever the relationship. That is called attachment. In love, more I become independent, more I feel the possibility of severing doesn't exist. That thought doesn't occur. That's why it is called as identification. You become one. That's what happened. This Persian poet says when Laila was operated, Majnu started bleeding, he says. When Laila needs to be operated, they are cutting Laila's body, and Majnu started bleeding here. That is love. Now, beyond that, now next one he takes up is kindness. It's the thought of kindness rather than the act of kindness. It's not the act of ahimsa. I'm going to be kind. I don't want to be cruel. I will be kind. Kindness is not an action, please. Kindness is at the thought level. What are you going to do? Not at the action level. Because action level, you cannot be kind to everyone all the time. That is not possible. Everyone cannot be kind. When the policeman arrests a person, he can't say that I have to be kind. I'm not saying you go to ill-treat that person, please. Immediately don't, get me wrong. Immediately this, human rights people will, start objecting to. I say correct. But interrogations has to be done, no. You can't give him, full square meals and say, we will take you to a 5-star hotel and give you this, royal treatments. All cannot be given. You can't be kind. When a child is having a high temperature, it has to be given injection. It's a cruel action, but it has to be administered for the welfare of the child. So you can't be kind at that time. So if you take act of kindness, how will you judge? Act of ahimsa. Remember, ahimsa cannot be practiced at the action level, physical level. Ahimsa can be practiced only at the thought level. It's not possible. That's what he explains. Then he moves on to the next idea, pity. Feeling sorry for the misfortune befalling on somebody. Towards the unfortunate, you feel sorry. And we think that's a positive emotion. Yes, that's not a positive emotion. It's a negative emotion. Why? Because it stems from ego. I am better off. You feel that. You feel comfortable when you see someone in this. Meaning, not in the sense you are happy that the other person is in the hospital. Not in that sense. He met with an accident, multiple fracture. He is lying in the hospital. It's not that you are happy about it unless he is your enemy or something. You see, that's not what I'm saying. But you do genuinely feel sorry. But when you are feeling sorry, what parallelly runs in you is, thank God, I am not in that position. That is called pity. See, would you prefer to be in his position? You would definitely say, no, I don't want to be in his position. No. I should not be in that bed. See, that's where your thought is more in terms of visualizing you there and then denying that. Instead of your face, his face is placed. And then you say, oh, I feel very sorry for you. So the whole thinking starts with what? Your face first. Typically you see it in the hospital when you visit someone in the hospital. That's why we don't recommend people going to visiting people in the hospitals. That doesn't mean don't take it literally. Say your family member in the hospital, you say, Ishwaran in the class he had said, you should not visit anyone in the hospital, so you manage. See, there are certain obligations you have. In the areas of obligations, it's different. Okay. This is the problem teaching Vedanta. Teaching mathematics is easy. Vedanta is a big problem. Because tomorrow you will say, you will put a blame on me. At least earlier and all, I used to tell people, I wouldn't have said that in the class. Now it is recorded. See, now I can't escape. You'll say, you only said that. Say, okay, I'm keeping a rider also along with that. Pity is a feeling of sympathy towards the sufferings of others. See, that's what when we were in South Africa for a tour, there's a group of people whom we met. And they were asking, we wanted to we are planning to do some great social work and things. All that they're saying, what is the plan? We didn't say anything. They were asking my opinion. I said, why do you want my opinion? As though you are going to follow. They said, no, we wanted to know what do you think? I asked them, what is the project they have? The project they are having is this orphanage. I said, my blessings are there. Always I'm, good work. They're asking. Then I asked them, say, see, to have an orphanage, what is the essential requirement? What is a must for orphanage? Without which orphanage is not possible. They're all, saying one thing, you need a building, you need fund, you need, corpus fund, and then you need that fund, then you need land, and you need, government approval. I said, that is not essential. No. Finally, then, what is needed is orphans. If there are no orphans, where is orphanage? So when you say, I want to build a big orphanage, what are you desiring actually? You see, that's why I really wonder in the hospitals, they always have, every time I go to hospital, it's an amazing one sight for me. There's a Ganesha, they'll keep. Hospitals, they'll have a Ganesha statue or a temple, things here. And I see the visitors or that, hospitalized people or people who come, the disease, people who come to hospital, they pray. Along with that, the doctor is also standing and praying. Doctor is praying for what? Doctor says, I want to succeed, I want to grow, I want to expand. That means what? More paid patients, elongated stay. And what is the patient asking? Patient is exactly opposite. Let me get out as early as possible. Let me not have any disease. Imagine if there is no disease at all in the world, what will happen to that profession? Doctor. I'm not saying, every doctor says, let there be more, diseases in the world. That's not what I mean. It's very interesting to see. There is a conflicting thing we ask, you see. One fellow is asking for rain. Another fellow is praying, let there not be any rain. Because his business grows only when there is no rain. This fellow's business grows only when there is rain. Let there be more tax. Government says. Every year, when you discuss in terms of budget, every one of us look only for what? There will be no tax. Are they going to abolish income tax? Are they going to abolish income tax? From my childhood, I'm hearing that. In India, we don't need to have income tax at all. Because anyway, we don't pay. That's the point. Why they're saying is not out of any calculation or anything. Anyway, we don't pay. Now, what is the point? They want to increase the tax, these people want to decrease the tax. This conflict is always there. There is a suffering of somebody else. I feel sorry for that person. Is more of an emotional weakness. Remember, pity is more of a weakness than a strength, than a positive emotion. It's a trick of your mind, projecting itself as though it is so good and genuine when it is actually a weakness. Beware of that carefully. There's a quick question that has come in. What are the three types of emotions? You said intensity or depth, expression, and please let me know. This is the problem. I was just telling you people, no, recording, no problem. I don't know what I was saying actually. In what context I was saying also, I don't remember. Something I must have been blabbering. In the flow, we'll just say something, It's a way of, keeping the attention of people and keeping thinking at a check. I won't keep anything in my mind. I simply say there are 4 different angles to it. I just simply say it first. I say there are 4 angles. Now let's start thinking. It's not that I have already decided there are 4 angles and then I'm telling. That is it. That's a master. A master is one who is defined in his things. You are not listening to a master, remember. You are listening to a student. Then you ask me, then why are you talking? My entertainment is this. What am I to do? And you people are not having access to master. Therefore, there is a compromise. That's all. Like tuition teachers we have, no, in school. There is a school teacher, and then there is a tuition teacher. When the student is gaining less mark, with whom you go and fight? School also, you are the one who is paying the fees. Or the tuition master also, you are the one who is paying the fees. But you will fight with the tuition master and not with the school teacher. The school teacher will call. Like my daughter's school, teacher, she called. Said, your daughter is very intelligent. I said, I know that. For this, I don't have to come. I know that already. But she needs to be taught, these things. I said, by whom? By whom? He said. See, if I can teach her all that, why will I send her to you? He said. She had 4 or 5 points, it seems, to discuss with me. After the first point itself, he said, forget it. No point in talking to this father. So what? I said. Now there are, in emotional discussion, one aspect is you need to understand emotions has its own language. That language cannot be understood by the other. You see, emotions were felt by the mind. Intellect is the one which analyzes, reasons, discerns, right? The language of intellect is different. The language of mind is different. The language of head is different. The language of heart is different. The language of heart is intensity, depth. That's it. Whichever you are feeling deeper, any emotion that is felt deep, intense, gets more opportunity to feel. It is felt, it is repeated. Because mind has another dimension to it. It repeats itself. Which gets repeated is the emotion which is felt by the mind, deeper, intense. Intensely deep or deeply intense, whatever you want to use, you can use. It's the same thing. Depth and intensity, just two different words I'm using. That's about it. Then, another thing that you need to remember with reference to emotion is emotion has two aspects. One is feeling, another one is expression. Feeling is different, expression of that emotion is different. The expression is decided based on obligation and situation. Expression is not decided based on the feeling. However intense, however deep, however noble, however gross, it doesn't make any difference. Expression is governed only by the intellect. Intellect decides that on what basis? On the basis of two things. Parameters for the expression of it. Expression of any emotion, parameters are two. One is obligation. Is expressing this emotion obligation? Yes, express. If it is not obligation, you need not express. Simple. Right? Like everyone wants to be treated special, isn't it? All of us want to be treated special. To me, he should give something special. Something so unique has to be given to them. Only then we feel the other person is loving me, affectionate towards me, isn't it? What is it that you want? I told my daughter, I said, advice I will give only if it is asked. Exception, daughter. Even when she is not asking, I will advise her. That is a special treatment given for her. That's it. You see, there is an exception. Like that, you need to keep defining with reference to your wife. If you are a wife, husband, what is it that you are keeping as an exception for them? Have you successfully communicated that to that person, either through words, through deeds? That's special treatment. That's called obligation. You say manifestation, my affection is there, but the expression of that in that facet needs to be different. Similarly, I give few privileges to few people. Certain privileges are given to them, certain privileges given to the other. That privileges that you give to the other is what is defining your expression. That is based on obligation. Then that also depends on situation. Not all the time I would go on giving her advice on everything because I've given this as an exception. No. So what I'm going to do now? Start every day, morning and evening. I said, "Oh, Sahana, oh, tu." I don't start. You see, that needs to be given how that manifestation, that expression. You see, it will look, if I elaborate it a little more, it will appear as though I'm asking you people to put up an act. You see, it will look like that. It's not that place. It's clearly defined based on your obligation. You're obligated to do certain things. You are expected to do certain things. Do it. Then situation means to whom, how, when, where, all that. You calculate all those things and then you define, is it your obligation? Then you express that emotion. If not, Don't express it. This is second dimension of emotion, right? The third dimension, I don't know. I'm trying to recollect. If this is not what I have said earlier, take it today, okay? Because I don't remember what I was saying earlier. The third dimension of emotion in any discussion of emotion is you bring that emotion consciously. You need to introduce that emotion in your thinking. You see, if you try to dismiss that emotion, it will take vengeance on your thinking. If you give full freedom to emotion, again it will create a problem. This is another dimension of emotion. This is applicable for all emotions, whether it is love, compassion, this, that, whatever the emotion is. All that these rules are applicable. Okay. Usually, what happens in our life is when you start thinking, emotion is dismissed. If emotion comes, thinking thrown out. You see, once you start believing, once you start trusting, once you start loving someone, after that your thinking doesn't work. These things may be too much for you to remember, understand. But the other side, if I give immediately, everybody will agree. The moment you get angry, what happens to your thinking? Your anger is triggered. What happens to your thinking? After that, you can't think clearly. Once your anger mounts, you can't think. Your thinking stops. That's why we recommend people try to avoid this expression. Don't act on it. Postpone that expression. This is a typical advice given to people, those who want to handle, the negative emotions. How do you deal with it, sir? Is postpone the expression of it. By postponing the expression, you are giving an opportunity for that emotion to subside. That's why they say go for a walk, count 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 are not too late. Because before you say 1, 2 is already started hitting. Now what to do? But how you deal with it, sir? This is one of the ways. This is not I'm not saying this is the best way or anything. This is one of the methods being given is to postpone the expression. Don't express that emotion straight away, particularly negative. Why that is recommended is to create a gap so that your thinking comes back to you. Now, what Vedanta says is, see, when you are dismissing that emotion or you indiscriminately entertain that emotion, either case it is a problematic one. One set of people indiscriminately entertain it, like Dhritarashtra. Because as soon as Duryodhana was born, I'm assuming all you people are all familiar with the story, Mahabharata story. Okay. Otherwise, I have to tell the entire story then to you. As soon as the child was born, Vitura comes and tells him clearly, see, the signs are very clear that this child of yours is going to be the cause for the destruction of our clan itself. The Kuru Vamsa is going to be destroyed, and he is going to be the cause of complete destruction. You have 100 kids, spare this fellow, kill him. He said. Doesn't matter. Get the abortion done. That's what he was recommending. Because for the welfare of the family and the state, it's worth give up. But Dhritarashtra could not. Gandhari could not. Both of them were so attached to Duryodhana. Right through their life, they couldn't see the viciousness, villainy of their son. They were sympathizing with him right through. That is called indiscriminate entertainment of emotion. That is what Othello did. Indiscriminately entertained the thought. Beware of jealousy, says Iago. Says, beware of jealousy, my lord. The green-eyed monster doth mock the praise and feeds on. Jealousy is like a green-eyed monster. We don't know what is a green-eyed monster. I have no idea. What is he referring to? There is a monster which has a green-eyed monster. What it does, sir, it mocks the prey. It plays with the prey first and then feeds on. These emotions have the tendency to do it. Therefore, what you need to do with the emotions, sir, you can't chuck him out, nor can you allow him, entertain him. Now what you do with him? Now Vedanta says what you do with those emotions is, when you are thinking, do all your thinking. And just before concluding, consciously bring that emotion and see what is the conclusion. Like desert. A meal is incomplete without a dead desert. You need to have the dead deserts. You can't have only dead deserts and have meal also. That is also not possible. You can't do that also. That is also not correct. So what you do, you eat. Last you have that. How much of that emotion you have to bring in? Remember, it has to be brought last. How much of it, sir? Like how much you add pickle in curd rice. One bowl of curd rice, you add a spoon of pickle. Even if you are from Andhra also, you won't do the other way. Not that you take one bowl of pickle and add 1 spoon of curd rice to that. You can't do. You see, you can have only this. When you have that spoon of pickle with curd rice, it's delicate. See. Only curd rice, you can't have. You'll choke. Only pickle, you can have, but tomorrow you will know. Right? Everybody will know in the house, not only you. That's what one, an Australian couple, they came to India first time. They were staying in, Andhra. They landed in Hyderabad. And they ordered for dinner, they ordered for chili chicken. The fellow, that lady couldn't eat. And this fellow really cherished it. And he finished his portion. And that lady's portion also he finished. I've never had like this, man. Fascinating. And next day morning, he goes to the restroom. From restroom, he shouts, "Honey, now I understand why Indians use water, not paper." He catch fire, So hot. Little bit. You have the little of this. Remember, placement is like a dessert. Last. Just before completing a meal. Just introduce it. Then how much? Like a pickle. Introduce that emotion. Then you come to conclusion. That conclusion will be a confluence of your thinking and your emotion. Otherwise, thinking runs in one direction, emotion runs in opposite direction. This is another facet of emotion. Kosuru, I'll give one more. Okay. You know, freebies. Buy three, get one free offer. The fourth dimension is also there. There are many dimensions to it. Okay, emotions. Now, emotions, if I start means, I have to explain emotions from, I don't know how many angles are there, and so many facets are there. So many, every emotion flavors are different. It's all different things. But another important aspect that you can take is when you are feeling an emotion, how do you decide whether this emotion needs to be promoted or needs to be demoted? How do you decide that? Because everything is yours. Both are yours. You see, you're actually feeling it. When you're feeling it, what do you do with it? How do you determine whether you are feeling your emotion, that your sensation that you are experiencing right now, the feeling that you are having right now, the emotion that you are experiencing right now is appropriate or inappropriate, is higher or lower? How do you define? How do you decide? This is another facet of emotion. This is the fourth dimension of emotion. Hey, don't ask me to repeat again. Huh? 1, 2, 3, Allah. Okay. You ask me next class, I will start something different. I don't know. Okay. The fourth aspect is this, wherein we need to ask ourselves, how do you know whether this emotion is appropriate, higher, inappropriate, lower, subtle, gross? It's a gross emotion, man. You say, how do you know that? They give a test. Many people have taken this test to be the medication. Remember, this is only a test to define the condition of your emotion. That's about it. This is not medication, please. Many people have taken this itself to be the solution for it. Solution is not that. What does it say? Bring in your awareness, your alertness. Become conscious of that emotion. Whatever emotion that you are feeling right now, become conscious of it. Throw the light of your alertness on that. Throw your consciousness on that. Throw your awareness on that. And see what happens. In the light of your alertness, if that emotion were to shrink, reduce in intensity, that is lower, negative, inappropriate. In the light of your alertness, if the emotion were to grow in intensity, it is higher, subtle, positive, good, appropriate. Many people have started taking this, being alert as a solution itself. No, alertness is not a solution, please. It's a diagnostic method. You can't go to a diagnostic center. Diagnostic center will tell you whether you have got corona or not, whether you have sugar or not, whether you have BP or not, whether you have whatever the diseases, typhoid, malaria, dengue. What you have, it will show. Similarly, this awareness will make what is there to you. That's it. It's like switching on the light in the room will show what is there in the room. That's about it. You can't say, I will increase the light intensity so that all the dirt in the room will disappear. That's not possible, no. Will the dirt go away by having more light? In fact, by having more light, you will start seeing more dirt. If there is less light, you will see less dirt. Clearing the dirt is a different thing. How you clean that room is a different process, different procedure. But where is what? Where I have to clean, what needs to be cleaned, for that, you need to switch on the light. That's your alertness, your awareness. That intellectual alertness you bring in the light of that alertness, if the emotion that you are experiencing right now were to shrink in intensity or disappear or try to hide, if it were to do any one of those things, understand that's gross, that's negative. You see, like all this, the thief will never come and stand in light, isn't it? The thief always goes and hides. Cockroaches will never live in light. In dark places only they survive. They go to dark places. Negative things grow only in darkness. You see. But light is not a solution, please. Light brings the alertness. Whenever you are experiencing an emotion, bring that alertness and see whether it is growing or shrinking. If it grows, positive. If it shrinks, negative. That's the connection between intellect and emotion, mind. How you deal with the emotion dimension of mind, sir. Remember these things. Don't suppress it. Don't promote it. Ask him to wait. I'll give you a chance. I'll consider you also. I will factor in the emotion also in the thinking process. But when do you introduce it? Not in the beginning. You don't start your thinking from emotion. Then it is colored. Then it is biased. Prejudiced, we say. Your thinking gets colored. Colored by what? Colored by your own emotions. Your emotions color your thinking. Nor can you say any decision that I have to take in my life has to be done independent of my emotions. No, that is also not possible. If you try, you will be a failure in life. He says, how do you do that, sir? Bring that emotion before concluding. How much? Little you introduce, enough. You don't need to use all that emotion need not be brought in. A little you sample, you bring in, enough. If that emotion is positive, it will grow. If it is negative, it will shrink. Then it will not disturb your thinking. It will not color your thinking. These are the 4 dimensions of emotion. As for 3, I've given 4. Because I don't remember what I was saying in the last class. So I must be referring to these points only. See. Now we have seen love, kindness, pity. And then he takes up another emotion, charity. Now charity, first question we ask is this. In the discussion of charity, every religion in the world had spoken of charity. Every religion has made charity a compulsory one. You should do charity. You should do charity. Some of them have given some percentage also. This much of percentage should be given for charity, whatever the income of yours is. It doesn't make any difference. Now the question we ask is, why every religion says you should do charity? Right? Why are they saying charity is must? And this is where the confusion comes. You see, when they make it compulsory, we feel what? Oh, you guys do charity, I receive charity, and I live on charity, and all of you do charity, what happens to me? My bank balance increases. Your bank balance reduces, my bank balance increases, and I live a Maja life. So, all these religious masters, these guys, why they said you should do charity is to live a comfortable life for themselves. This is why they said you should do charity. This is why they said you should do charity, is what we think. Eh, Remember, that's not the idea. These masters, they say do charity. This is not why they say you should do charity. They are not asking you to do charity because you have to change the world. That's what Ramtirtha says. Trying to change the world is like trying to straighten the dog's tail. It will not work. You straighten it. You leave it, it'll roll back. It'll roll back. You cannot straighten the dog's tail. Not possible. Nor can you completely get rid of poverty from the world. It is not possible. There are people who will be. I'm not saying I'm happy about it, please. It's not correct. Right? But you got to remember the law of life. Nature is this. Such iniquity there shall be, said Christ. There will be iniquities. Nothing can be done. To think that everybody will have the same is not possible. Reasonable, we will say. That's all. At best, we can say what reasonable. According to who's the standard? You are not asked to do charity that so that it will make a difference to the society, to the world. Remember, the world is not so poor that it needs you to support it. It is not needed. Don't keep that big ego, please. So charity cannot be for this reason. Charity is not given for that reason. I'm not going into the details of how you deduce, how you say, no, it cannot be for this, it cannot be for that. In fact, that's how I used to do these classes. And we are doing, physical class. What I would do is this. I would ask this question and leave the class. Next week when we meet, I'll explain. Say, 1 week you guys think. Come back next week and give me reasons. Why all the religion said you should do charity. And I give reasons, fascinating ones. I give. Not to prove that, I'm intelligent or anything, please. It is not my deduction, please. Nothing of what I speak is mine. It's been taught. It's been already conceived by these great masters. I only collected and telling you people. That's about it. Courier boy, we say. Collect the things from there and come and distribute. That's about it. There's nothing is mine here. Okay. Now, a lot of people think, wow, what a beautiful interpretation, explanation. It is not my explanation, please. It's given in the Shastras. What is there in the scriptures, I'm taking it and giving it to you people. That's about it. What is this? Charity. Why should you do charity, first of all? What it is, we'll see next. Why should you do? Why they are saying you must do it? That is why you have to go back to the basic definition of religion. What is religion meant for? Religion is existing in the world for what? Like engineering is existing in the world for what? Architecture is existing in the world for what? Physics is existing in the world for what? There is no physics in the animal kingdom, is it not? A lot of people argue, saying that this religion is not there amongst animals. Why it should be there only for humans? I say mathematics also is not available for animals. Physics is not there in the world of animals. Biology is not there in the world of animals. Economics is not there in the world of animals. Then, then why this one? Why religion? What is the job of religion, sir? Remember, religion exists for human alone. It doesn't exist for other creatures. Like mathematics exists only for human alone. It doesn't exist for other animals. There's no quantum mechanics for animals. Dogs and zebras and things don't sit and discuss quantum mechanics. They just live. That's it. Religion exists only for human. For what? We all understand the role of mathematics. We all understand the role of biology. We all understand the role of economics. We all understand the role of politics. We all understand the role of arts. Right? Music, dance. Whatever the music is, whatever the dance is, we all understand the role of it. Now, what is the role of religion? Remember, religion exists only for your evolution, for you to grow spiritual. For that, religion exists. Your spiritual growth is marked by what? Your spiritual growth is marked by how much you are able to drop your possessiveness, your desires, your ego and egocentric desires, me and mine. Lesser the me and mine, greater you are. No me, no mine, enlightened. Evolved is one who has less me, mine. Enlightened is one who has no me, no mine. Between me and mine, when you are coming in, me comes first, mine comes next. But when you are reducing it, when it is developing, it develops like this. But when you are working to remove that, you have to go reverse. First, you got to remove mine and then me. Because your I is nothing but the collection of mine, is what your I is. I is not an independent entity, please. It's a collection. Collection of what? All your mine. This is mine, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. My car, my house, my wife, my child, my this, my degree, my position, my status, all put together is what is me. So if I have to attack ego, you can never succeed. That's what the standard advice of Bodhidharma be. When you come, don't forget to bring your mind, he would say, so that I can put it to rest. You wonder, what is he saying? Right? I'll leave my mind and come or what? He would say that, always say, don't forget to bring your mind with you so that I can put it at rest. What is that? Mind, mind, mind. All your mind put together is called me. This is philosophical explanation. Too much of things. That's why we had a great, thinker called Kiva Jagannathan. He would give a beautiful example. He would say, when you are going out, when you have to go to office, you put the waist first and then the shirt. He was a Tamil scholar. You put the banian first and then shirt. When you remove, which one do you remove first? You remove the shirt and then the waist, isn't it? The briefs that you remove, the brief that you use, the bunian that you remove next. You don't argue stating, first I put on that, so first I will remove that and then remove this. You can't do that. You have to remove the shirt first. Similarly, before you can attack your ego, ahankara, mamakara needs to be attacked first. For which you need to know how much you are possessed by your possessions. How will you know? They said, do charity, you will know. Because when you do charity, first thought you get in mind is what? I retain some and give, isn't it? You give, correct. But how much you give? Percentage, isn't it? Or after my death, I will give it to all you fellows. I say, oh, so anyway, you are gone. Anyway, it is of no use to you. Now, what is the point? So, why you can't give? That is why charity is not assessed by what you give, what you retain, the quality of your charity. Because when you have to part, that's where you start getting the feeling what? The pain. There is a pain in that parting of your wealth. That will expose what? How much you are involved with your wealth. Independently, if I ask every one of you is a Janaka only. Every one of you is a Sudama. Every one of you is Buddha. Great renunciates. You know. Okay, you're not so great like them. You say little lower than them. That's about it. You know. I'm not as great as them, sir, but I'm somewhere closer to that is what everyone believes. But as a fellow to give, what happens? That's what Mullah says. This priest, asked Mullah, hey, if you were to have 1 crore, what will you do? Said, I'll park 50 lakhs. I'll give 50 lakhs to you. Said, oh, if you had to have 1,000 sheep, I'll give 500. Suppose you have only 500, then what? I'll give 250. He said, oh, suppose you have only 100, then what you will do? I'll give 50. Suppose you are having only 50, then what? 25 I'll give. Suppose you have only 10, what will you do? I'll give 5. Suppose you have 4, what will you do? I will not give anything. The priest says, no, why? Because I have 4. All the other things, what you are talking about, he was not having. You see, it's all imaginary, no. In imagination, you give. He says, what's the problem? I'll give. But 4 sheep I have. I can't part with it, he says. What you have, when you part, you feel that pain. That will expose your involvement, how much you are involved with your possessions. You can't part with it. You can't give. It's not there in the blood, to give. The charity, to give. See, what you give will vary. I'm only giving example of wealth as a gross level. Easy to understand. But don't think charity is only with reference to wealth, please. Charity can be at the level of wealth. Charity can be at the level of physical service. Charity can be at the level of emotions that you give. And charity can be at the level of thoughts. Charity can be at the level of spiritual teaching also. You give this knowledge. The highest of all charity is that. But all of us would say, I would definitely want to give thoughts. Easier, sir. You think giving thoughts is easier? That's what all of us say. No, giving advice is very easy, sir. Yeah. You don't, because you don't have it. It's like Bulla saying, I'll give 500 sheep, I'll give. Why? You're not having it. No thought is your own thought. All the thoughts that you are carrying is borrowed. Nothing is yours. No knowledge is your knowledge. Your knowledge do you part with? Impossible. You never part with your knowledge. It's so difficult to share emotion. To shower that emotion is not easy. In fact, much more difficult in this emotion is to receive that. Giving is more difficult. Receiving is much more difficult. These are all very subtle dimensions. So don't go directly into that. First, understand it at the grossest level. Grossest level is material. At the material level, what is charity, sir? Is to share. That's what he gives a classic example of sharing, charity. The priest in this play, Victor Hugo's play, Les Miserables. There is a convict, who escapes from the prison, and he is moving around the winter time. No place to stay, no food. Everybody is shying him, throwing him out of the house. The sight of him, people are detesting, because you can clearly see he's a beggar. Just throwing him out. And he comes to the priest's house. And the priest invites him and offers him to have dinner with him. And says, have dinner with me, man. And the tradition in that house is, any guest comes, the dinner is served in silver plates. Silver cutleries. Silver plate is where his dinner is served. The dinner is served, and the priest says, if you want to stay, you're most welcome to stay overnight and go in the morning. And this guy is so happy because the priest is an old man, right? All alone in the house and in the guest room. And to his surprise, the maid cleans the table and washes the plates, brings the plates, and keeps in the cupboard which is in the guest room. Now they said, now this problem also not there. All that he has to do is what? Wait till the priest goes to sleep. All that he has to do is just open the cupboard. It's not locked or anything. No, Godrej lock and all that. Just a cupboard, that's it. His place as it and goes. And next day morning, of course, this guy, midnight, he escapes. He steals those plates and runs away. Next day morning, the priest was sitting, and the lady comes. She searches for the plates because she knew this guy is going to do that. So first thing, she comes home, she looks at the plates, it's missing. She comes and reports to the priest. And the priest is reading. He was reading. Fantastic scene. Yes. She comes and says, the silver plates are missing. He says, he's not even looking up to her. He says, replace them with copper. That's all. No problem. So what? The silver plates are the copper plates. Doesn't matter. He says. They eat. And she is so fuming and she's so angry. I told this priest yesterday itself, this guy is not looking like normal guest. So don't serve him with all these things. Don't show him this. Listen to me. What do you think of me? As she is, lamenting all these things, two policemen bring this guy and throw him to the floor, stating, Sir, we saw this guy trying to sell this silver plates in the market. We recognized the plates because they must have had dinner in their house, the priest's house. So the sight of the plate, they knew this is from his house. We arrested him and we brought him to you. And that fellow didn't say anything. That convict, John will John. He doesn't say anything. He just keeps quiet. They threw him to the floor. They said, we arrested this guy. The priest says, what, John? Did you not tell them that I, the one who gave this to you? Policemen were shocked. He said, you gave it to him? Because the policemen got confused. They didn't know whether priest is great or that fellow great. Because that John didn't resist. He didn't say anything. And they arrested also, he didn't say anything. They got so scared. My God, this guy is, must be somebody here who made a mistake. And profusely they apologized to the convict and the priest, and they leave the scene. And this guy says, John, you're free now. Am I free to go? The priest asks, when a man is free, I wish someone could tell me that. He says, when a man is free, he asks, am I free to go now? He says, the priest asks him, when a man is free, John, I wish somebody could tell me that. Remember, John, and surprisingly to this guy, he takes the 2 silver candles, is there on the study table. He picks that. Yesterday night you forgot to take this. This is also silver. Take this. Long time ago, John, I learned this. Life is to give. Let me give. He gives that. He gives those 2 candlesticks to this guy. Fascinating scene. He says, long time ago, John, I've learned life is to give. Let me give. And this John doesn't say anything. He doesn't do it. He just, quietly leaves the scene. There's no crying, there's not a lengthy drama, nothing of that. Quietly leaves. After that, you should see his life. This guy becomes a perfect picture of Karma Yogi. Karma Yogi definition, this guy becomes a great benefactor to the entire city. The whole town talks about that fellow. His generosity. A big man. And the end of the story is he gives those 2 candlesticks to another fellow, saying the same thing. He says, that's a Guru Sishya Parampara. It goes on. The candlesticks moves. But essentially what he's saying is only one thing. What is it? Life is to give. Be charitable. Give. That doesn't mean, you give and come to me and say, Ishwaran, you only said to give everything, I have given everything. It's not indiscriminate dispensation of wealth, please. The problem is we think, charity means indiscriminate giving. There is a vast majority miserly, charitable. There are people who are so charitable, and it's a quality by itself. It's a fascinating quality. You say that, give charity. How you should give and all is a different thing. I'm not going into that analysis. How you should give and all that. But in the charity, what is important is you can be charitable only when you feel that identification with the other person. If you cannot have that identification, this charity is not possible. It is not that, with the egoistic feeling that, I'm going to be changing the world. I'm going to be helping the world. It's not that, please. It's not the social service, not starting an NGO. I'm not against NGOs. No, don't say Ishwaran is against NGO. I'm not against it, please. I'm saying that's not what it is. It's that outlook, a charitable outlook to give. More you give, more you get. Because nature doesn't accept vacuum. You know that, no? The atmosphere doesn't accept vacuum. The moment it becomes vacuum, the whole air comes and rushes from all those sides to fill it. Fill that vacuum. You know, give. Through giving, empty thyself. The moment you empty yourself, he fills it. You empty again, he fills it. You empty again, he'll fill it. Our problem is what? We will never empty it. We will keep a little. You see, that little that you keep to yourself is where the problem is. That's what Draupadi was doing. She was calling for Krishna's help, correct? But along with that, what she was doing there, when they are attempting to derobe her, Dushasana is pulling the sari, and she holds that. She holds. That's exactly what Gajendra also did. The elephant, when the crocodile caught hold of his leg, the tussle was going on for 1000 years, it seems. The fight between this Gajendra and this fellow, the crocodile. And all the friends, the retinues of Gajendra was helping him initially. After a point, they also gave up. They said, forget it. How long I have to fight for this guy? Go, man. And they went out. And then his family, this retinue went away. His wives were there. They were fighting along with him. They were also trying to pull him along. It's not. Then finally, they also give up. They also get exhausted. They also give up. And then this fellow uses all his might and pulls. Even then, he doesn't succeed. That is the time he gives up the whole thing and says, forget it, man. Let whatever happen. But just I want that little energy in me to pluck that lotus and offer it to you. And then I can die. That's okay. I don't mind. Let me just give that and then die. It's just about a feet away from me. I stretch my trunk. A little I have to stretch to pluck it and offer it to you. And then let me die. Doesn't matter. That I am not able to do. What is the point of calling myself as Gajendra? Same way, Draupadi also is the same thing. She leaves that also. She struggles with all her strength. Remember, she's not a weak lady here. Don't think, Draupadi to be someone who is weak person, please. A Kshatriya, a queen. Okay. But of course, in comparison to Dushasana, he cannot. There's no difference. There's a huge gap. But don't think she is weak or anything. It's not a weakness, please. It's not out of weakness, exhaustion she gave up. She understood why he has not come to rescue me. I called him, he has not come. Because she has read this story, Gajendra story. She knows about it. He said, this guy will not come. I can fight for 1000 years. She has that energy. A lot of people think, she was weak and all that. She's not a weak lady, please. Then you don't know her. This Kshatriya woman, you don't know. You see, they are very strong. Psychologically, also physically, remember. They're not weak. Particularly when the situation comes where their modesty is challenged, their strength grows, multiplies. That's what Sita tells Hanuman. He says, you think I'm sitting here because I can't handle this fellow, Ravana. Yeah, Hanuman thought is a weak lady. You know, he thought, "You come, I will take you." He said, "You idiot! You think I'm sitting here because of my weakness? No. With my one word, I can destroy 100 Ravanas. I don't need to take bow and arrow and all that. One word of mine is sufficient. That fellow will be reduced to nothing." But that's not the dignity of my, not Rama, she says, for Kodanda, that bow of Rama. It's not the dignity of Rama's bow. I want to give the dignity. For that, let him take the credit. So for Rama to take the credit, I am foregoing this. Yes. Don't think, women weakness. It's a very wrong concept. People carry that they are weak and all that. It's not weakness, please. Draupadi, she realized it. She says, "Oh, I'm holding on. My God. Like a stupid lady, I'm holding on to it. Forget it." She says, "Give up. The way to gain anything is to lose it." Ram Tirtha. Mahavakya. The way to gain anything is to lose it. You lose it, you get it. Whatever you lose, you gain. And it looks such a contradicting idea. We think it is not possible. See, gain means you got to grab, no? Only when I grab it, I get it. Give, how do I get, man? Remember, the law of life is such that the way to gain anything, lose it. This is the way to do it. Yes. Then you get into this. How do you do it? He gives a beautiful example, Ram Tirtha. What's a proof? How do you prove it, sir? He says the phenomenon of colors, prove it. The light carries the vibhoric colors. The 7 colors are there. An object is appearing red. Why? Because it absorbs all other colors and throws back, rejects red. Object appears blue because it absorbs all other colors and rejects blue. It gains the color blue. Black absorbs everything, doesn't give anything. That's why it is wrong, negative. White is white, sir, because it doesn't keep anything. Everything is given back, rejected. It gains the color that it rejects. The way to gain anything is to lose it. That's the law of nature, he says. Now, this charity is not to be treated only for this social work, please. It's not only to create. If, of course, it will solve a problem here and there in pockets. In pockets, the social work will solve. But it is only by kindling that social consciousness you can solve the problem. En bloc, the problem can be solved only by kindling that social consciousness. Unfortunately, no effort is being put in to promote social consciousness, to be conscious, to be alert. That's what Vedanta does. This philosophy of life educates and inculcates that social consciousness with which the social work becomes redundant. It's not necessary. Like in the example I was saying, orphans, you don't need orphanages. Why the orphanages? Because orphans. If there are no orphans in the society, why do you need orphanage? In this country, we never had hotels. Why? A person can go for pilgrimage without carrying anything with him. From Kashi to Rameswaram, Rameswaram to Kashi, the fellows were going up and down. Different countries, different regions, different kingdoms, but no problems. They were able to move from one kingdom to another kingdom to another kingdom to another kingdom, and they were able to go by walk. Takes months and years together for them to go from one place to another place. They were doing that. How? You can go to anybody's house. You can be sure that you would be given a place to sleep, you'd be provided a pillow and a blanket, and you would be provided food. You don't need to worry about it. No hotels are needed. No this one, that one, nothing is needed. You're taken care of. Once we have that consciousness being developed amongst people, that is true charity. Is the attitude and openness to share, to give, not to grab things, not to hoard, not to accumulate. Accumulation and hoarding is opposite of charity. Now, charity is not defined by your attitude, please. What it produces. Today it has started producing respected beggars. That's about it. The people have started feeling they're obliged. Or many a times for the givers, what is it, sir? It is clearing the cupboard. Because I've spoken to people who work in these NGOs, particularly, I remember when we had this, the tsunami came, I've personally spoken to 3-4 people because our villages are there. 3-4 fellows, I had spoken to. They said they got truckloads of things which cannot be used. Who gave all that? Why they gave all that? And you open the cupboard, you hear the news, there's a tsunami, people needs to be given some clothing. What to do? You open the cupboard and your hand reaches to what? Old, torn, shrunk, which you can't use anymore. How many of us have bought and gave? Right. I'm not saying you need to buy immediately. You need to buy one, Armani suit and give it to people. That's not what I'm saying. You see, whatever you buy, can't you buy and give? Now, who are the fellows who have been rendered homeless? I remember in Gujarat we had, this earthquake. Overnight, people have been left nothing. Who are they? Till yesterday, they were equal to you. Now, today, where are they, sir? They are worse than your mate condition. They are reduced to nothing overnight. Now, their pride would not allow them to take, the torn clothes. They can't wear it. It's not possible. How can they wear it? Now, how many of us recognize that and then give? Do you realize to whom you are giving? You give all, then what are you giving? You are not giving. Actually, you are clearing your cupboard. That's about it. It's a cleaning process for you. That's it. We call that as charity. Or you amassed so much of wealth and you feel so guilty that world is suffering. Just to pacify your guilt, just to satisfy your guilt, just to clear off the guilt from your mind, you give. We call that as charity. That is why they said, when this religion, they said give, they thought it is to satisfy the rich, to help the rich rid of the guilt of amassing wealth. They said it's a wrong thing to be done. Think carefully. And there are so many ideas, It's a huge concept because charity was so many things I have not explained. I've just, said and passed. I need about 3 to 4 sessions to explain charity. to, to some satisfactory manner. But I can't go in that much of detail now. So I'm just giving, reflect on this, think on it. And fortunately, it's available. So listen to it again and read carefully this portion. You know. And if you have any questions, bring it up before the class. Move day after. I'll deal with it and then move for further onto from where the emotion springs from, the root of emotion and the manifestation of it. With that, we conclude the chapter, the strength of emotion. So tomorrow, day after, we will be concluding the chapter, right? Before that, think on this idea, charity, because love is gone completely. I would prefer you people to think on love and attachment and all this, but it is so much of mixing up has happened. It's difficult. So at least try with charity. Start with material charity and then go to subtler things. That's the way you go about it. But when you're analyzing, when you're reasoning, do all that only keeping material things, doing charity with reference to material, and then stretch it to other aspects. Don't stay put at that. You start with it and then go higher. But for your reasoning purpose, for your thinking purpose, use this. Right. Think about it. We'll see day after. Thank you. Hari Om.